One man caravan, loving tiny living, looking for adventure down by the river.
Hello, Aaron here. Just getting home from work. It's like 4:20. That's an interesting time, right? 4:20. But living in a cargo trailer is always fascinating, especially in the winter, because as you can see, it is snowing here, and it's pretty. I like to watch the snow. It's peaceful. But I'll tell you what, there's always a little voice in the back of your mind. Just how much snow are we going to get? Because they'll predict an inch around here and you get a foot. They'll tell you you're going to get a foot and you get an inch. And the problem is this is super wet, heavy snow. We already have about a little more than an inch, but I'm going to bring a scale out in a minute and we'll weigh it. So I'm always curious, at what point do I need to start getting out my telescoping ladder and clearing off that roof? So I've had up to 16 inches on there. No, I don't know where I came up with that number. 16 inches. I've had 11 inches on my roof. And it's never bowed. I've never seen any issues, and it's been okay. But you're always thinking about it because it's not the same as an RV roof, even though I did reinforce my roof. Here are the beams I put in the trailer roof that run lengthwise, and they're made out of redwood, so they resist bugs and they're super strong, and the rest of them are underneath the insulation. You just can't see them. After I'd put the 2 inches of insulation in the ceiling, I would run a 1.5 by 3/4 inch beam across it and bolt it up into that metal beam, and that's how I reinforced that, and it also gave a place for the ceiling to attach to. So hopefully with those changes that I made, that's why I've never had any issues. But you do think about it, especially right now, because this is supposed to go on for hours. So just how deep will it get, and at what point do you get up there and start shoveling the snow off the roof? That's always the question, right? Let's see just how much this snow weighs. We'll just get a little bowl of it and see how much that weighs. All right, here's a little scale, and we're gonna turn it on, and it's gonna zero itself out with that bowl on it. So we're at 0 right now. All right, let's start adding some snow. And we'll just do a bowl full and see how much it takes to get to a pound. So look at that. Just a bowl full of snow is 1.2 pounds. So you can just imagine how much that weighs on top of your roof, right? So that's always the concern when it snows. It's pretty, I like it, but I don't like to live in it in a cargo trailer. There are some really cool pictures on the internet I found that happen to cargo trailers when they get too much snow load on them, especially this wet, heavy snow that we get. And I'll show them to you. Maybe not the brand that I got. I got Cargo Mate when I bought this trailer, and I think it had a reinforced roof already. I can't remember. I'd have to look at the paperwork. But let's just look at those for a minute.
When to shovel, when to not. If you don't, you might have a roof that bends a lot. When to shovel, when to not.
So that is why I took the time and effort to reinforce my roof when I built this, because I knew I was going to live in it in the cold, and there was going to be snow on the roof, and I did not want that roof coming on top of my face when I'm asleep at night, because that would suck. But even though I say let it snow and it's beautiful, when it just keeps snowing and you keep peeking out the window and you're like, oh dang, it keeps snowing, you always wonder, how much weight is on my roof? Because that can't be good. I found this snow calculator online and I put in the size of my roof with wet snow. What the heck? Look at that, 1,600 to 3,400 pounds on the roof. That is very heavy. You can see when you're looking at the roof just from inside whether the weight on that roof is making it bow or move at all, because it has a slight bend to it. I'll show you. I think you can see, and I'll try to go up higher, there's a slight bow that goes up in the roof beams. Hopefully you can see that. So I would see if that was starting to push down at all. And I think that's a little bit stronger as well, because I have like this whole cabinet set. That's very rigid, and that's bolted to the wall and then bolted up into the ceiling as well. So I think that whole thing adds another layer of strength. And it's just like all these, they all go into the roof beams. So I think that adds another layer of safety and why I've never had issues with the snow on the roof. Unlike some of those pictures we saw, because that would be really scary if you were actually in here and that started happening. Super scary. And that is also one of the other reasons why I have my escape hatch in the back of the trailer. The escape hatch. Pull it and get out. There the door is, wide open. Not just for fires, because I don't know, if there was a fire, it's so small in here, I think I would just be able to get out the front door. But what if something happened and the roof started caving in, you know, like right here at my door, and I couldn't get that door open? I want a second way to get out of here. And I've lived here for 5 years, and 2 years ago we had a big storm. And I did clean my roof off that time before I went to bed that night. But the tree above my house got loaded with that wet snow. Well, not just my tree, like every tree for 50 miles. And all you could hear all night was trees going crack, bang, and they would break. And we had no power for 7 days. So the other concern is that one of those limbs is going to come down on my roof. And they have. I've had like 3 of them whack my roof, and I have dents on the outside of my trailer and scratches. One time I did have one partially block my front door, but I was able to just shove it out of the way with the door. So that is the big maple tree above my house. And you can see this part hangs over my house. So that is the other concern, that as the snow piles up on these limbs, they get really heavy. And then kaboom, right there on my house. All right, here's one of the dents where the trees came down and whacked into my trailer. And then probably you can see that. That's where the tree came down at that storm 2 years ago. And the limb hit the ground and then ricocheted into my door. That'll wake you up. So what I was afraid of last night was that that whole limb was going to snap off. Right there. So a couple of these tree limbs I moved, got the generator going because they hit my house on the roof and then ricocheted off. See, there's tree limbs down everywhere. These are the ones that hit my house. That's like a 10-foot limb. And this little guy made a bunch of noise. One of them whacked my patio furniture. But luckily I got that. So for a couple hours, I actually got in my car and backed it up to where there's no tree cover and sat out there with the heater on because I was like, this is not good. So just based on my experience living in this house that I built, I know that I can tolerate at least a foot of snow on the roof before I even start really getting concerned. But any more than a foot, I guarantee you, I don't care how cold it is or how ugly it is outside, I will get my telescoping ladder out and use whatever implement I need and get that snow off the roof, because I do not want the roof on my face when I'm in bed, like I said. So, I am going up there to clean it. Now, it's only 6 feet wide, so even if I had to lay across the roof and push it off with my hands, I could do that. But if you've ever lived where there's wet snow and you try to shovel it or push it off a roof, it doesn't move that easy. Oh no, that stuff is hard, and you start sweating while you're up there working. But you gotta do what you gotta do. So, while the snow's beautiful, I really don't care to live in it, and I'm looking forward to the next chapter of my life, which is coming, not quite sure when, but I am going back to the desert. It might get cold there, but you don't get this heavy wet snow. It's beautiful up here in the mountains in the summer. The winters, not so fun. Cheers!